Hey everybody, good morning. Getting ready for my morning walk here. But in this video, I'm kind of struggling what to name this video. It is going to be a little bit of a confusing topic, especially in the beginning. But let me get going here and stay with me here for a second, because I think a lot of us struggle with this. Is that when we're dealing with manifesting, when you're dealing with, like, you set an intention, like you follow Never Galter, you do Never Galter techniques. So you set an intention, you set a goal, you set something that you want to manifest. But what ends up happening is your intention actually comes to you, but you don't really realize it. Okay, now listen to this. You might say, well, Chad, how can I not realize I just manifested what I wanted? Listen, is you either don't realize it has come to you, or a version of it has come to you, but you don't really like that version of what your intention is. You understand? You get me a little bit? It's almost like if you're a little bit broad in what you want. You're a little bit broad in setting an intention. You're not crazy specific with your intention. You're a little bit broad in there. So when God, the universe, gives you, when you do manifest what you want, it's not exactly what you want, because you weren't super specific in what you want. Whoa, that was a tongue twister. but let me give you an example, okay? And this is a real example for myself. That's, happened to myself, and I just started becoming aware of it. And I was like, dude, when I set an intention, it came to me. I just didn't realize it. And my intention was this, and this was a while ago. Okay, it's been a while. It's been probably a couple years, but I set an intention that I wanted to work 100% remote, and of course make money working remote, that I can work 100% remote. I don't have to take, I don't have to work for somebody else. I don't have to take a job. Or it could be, back then, it was kind of like, it could be a job, but 100% remote, where I could live anywhere, and do my thing and stuff like that. So that was my intention, is working remote and make enough money to work remote. Now in that setting that intention, it is really kind of broad. You see what I'm saying? It's and what ends up happening was, and this is a true story, what ended up happening is kind of God designed it in a way that I was working remote. And remember, I kind of have to add this thing in there. Like, I've always been an entrepreneur, okay? I've always have worked remote here and there. When I lived in LA, I worked about 15 years in the entertainment industry. And I always did my thing on the side. Sometimes it would be 100% remote. Sometimes I would take a job. Sometimes the job would be remote. Sometimes it wouldn't. So I was always in and out of it. So this time when I set the intention, I was like, I want to work 100% remote and make enough money to work remote. But back then, when I set that intention, it was a little bit broad. So what happened was, the intention ended up coming to me. I was actually working remote and making money working remote. And I was working remote on my own stuff, okay? And I was making money doing it. But it's not that I didn't see it, okay? It's not that I didn't know I was working remote, but my mind was still so focused on that intention. I couldn't let that intention go. I just kept on asking, having the same intention. I want to work remote. I want to make money working remote. I want to be able to work anywhere. I want to be able to travel the world. And lo and behold, that's what I was doing. But I couldn't let go of this intention. And sometimes, I would say, well, I want to work remote and make this much money, and that way I don't have to worry. Every month don't have to be, a little bit of a stress. So But I was actually living my intention, because back then my intention, I did say something kind of unique here, is to work remote, make money doing it, so I could travel. Well, that's what I really wanted to do, was travel and work remote. You see what I'm doing? I first started off being super broad. The intention actually came to me, but I didn't really see it. And then I started adding things to it. And then I was like, well, I want to work remote because that way I can travel the world. I can live overseas. If I want to live overseas, I can do it. If I want to do long stays overseas, I can do that. Then come back and visit family, and so forth and so forth. But I probably had this intention. I'll be honest with you. Once it came to me, I probably had this intention for a good another year. Like, I'm serious. And because I couldn't let it go. And then one day I kind of woke up, and for whatever reason I was thinking about it. I was just kind of aware of it. And I was thinking to myself, well, wait a second. It was just a gut intuition. It's like, wait a second. I set this intention, and I'm actually doing my intention. It actually came to me. I am working remote. Okay, I am making money working remote to support myself. Okay, so what am I doing? Why am I keep on going back to this intention? But then at this point, you have to be a little bit way more specific. Because the reason why you keep on going back to this original intention is because that's not what you really wanted. Okay, like, you want it, but it's way more specific now. You got what you wanted. Okay, because with that intention I set, it was a little bit broad. Okay, I was doing exactly what I wanted. Okay, but now I had to be a little bit more specific. Let me give you some examples. Maybe the reason why my mind kept on going back, well, I want to work remote, maybe it wasn't the working remote thing, because that was already given to me. Maybe it was about the money thing at this time. Maybe I wanted more money, or you could want more money. Okay, so now your attention's going to shift. You already got what you wanted. Now your attention becomes a new intention. Now your attention becomes with money, and now you have to be very specific. I mean, what type of money you want to make? How much you want to make? You want to be a millionaire, multimillionaire? How much you want in your bank account? You see what I'm saying? Okay. Now, another thing with that was, since I was working remote, working on my own brand, and I shifted into, I felt like my intuition led me into YouTube. So I restarted my YouTube channel about a year ago. So maybe now, when my intuition, my gut kind of led me into YouTube and doing YouTube videos and teaching and coaching and stuff like that, is now me working remote and make enough money to support myself, is now to be more specific. When you work remote, it's what do you want inside working remote? What do you want inside your brand? Maybe, for example, maybe I wanted my YouTube channel to go viral. Okay, so then that would be an intention. You see what I'm saying? Is you have to get, even if you start off broad what you want, once you get a broad aspect of it, now at that point, you have to get way more specific with it. I think that's the kind of a better what I'm trying to say. And rather than starting, some of us might start right off, like, I want my dream car is this, and that's what they focus on. I want my dream house is this, and that's what they focus on. Like in mine, in this example, it was a little bit more broad. I want to work remote and make money doing it, so I can continue working remote. Then it started getting more specific as it went on. Okay, it started getting more specific as things started happening in my life, where it's like once I started working remote, started making money, then it became, oh, I want to travel the world and live overseas. Then it became, well, of course I want to travel the world and live overseas. But I want to go back and forth because I want to visit my family once a year, like my mom, brother-in-law, nephew, all my family. I don't want to just abandon them and never see them again. So that means I'm kind of going back and forth, visiting them and going back overseas. So it started getting more and more specific over time. And your business, if you're doing like an entrepreneur, your brand, it's kind of like you're going down a rabbit hole. You're going to get more specific over time. And this might happen to you. Maybe your intention was manifesting your dream house, and maybe you held that intention for 6 months. Maybe it took a year. All of a sudden you're in your dream house. You're living in your dream house, but you can't. It's almost like we're in a bad habit at that point. You can't let go of that intention. You can't let go of that dream house. And you wake up one day and it's like, dude, I have my dream house. I have it. Okay. For you you can move on from it. What's keeping you stuck and holding on to that intention? I mean, it could be maybe you weren't specific enough with your dream house, so you're not really happy with it, even though it came to you. Okay. Or maybe there's something in your dream house that you want to fix and upgrade that sets a new intention. You know what I mean? That's something you have to be very careful with, because I find myself doing that, is that once your attention comes, it's almost like you have an unhealthy attachment to it. When you're like, if you have a personality where you get attached to things, you can get attached to your attentions. And even once it comes to you, it's like you're so in a habit of thinking about your intention, you can't let it go. Even though it already came to you, you already have it. Sometimes it come to you, maybe you were very specific and it came to you, but in your mind, you can't let it go. That's what you constantly think about. But you already have what you want. Maybe in my example, maybe you got like a broad aspect of it. So then you had to, get a little bit more specific. You had to like fine tune it. You know what I mean? And that happens to some of us as well. And it really happens to everybody, because once you set one intention and you get it, well, you're gonna get more confident and you're gonna be like, oh, I want to set like another intention. So eventually it's gonna happen where for some reason you just get attached to it. And once it comes to you, that's what you're still thinking about over and over and over. You're not moving on from it. And what else I want to say? my mind just shut off there. But I mean, this is all a learning curve too. You know what I mean? Because we're always in different situations. We're always manifesting different things, and it's just about self-awareness. Okay, you have to be self-aware of the little habits that we're doing. You have to be self-aware. It's the same way with me. Like when I'm attached to it, it's already come to me, but I get attached to it. Like I have trouble letting it go. It's just being self-aware of what I'm doing, being self-aware of what I'm thinking about constantly, and also being aware of, like, well, do I need to fine tune it? Why do I keep on thinking about this? Why do I keep on thinking about an old intention? Is there something in there? Is there something in there where I need to go dig deeper, or be a little bit more specific with it? Or it can come down to I'm just having trouble letting it go. Having trouble, I'm attached to it at that point. And with anything, when you're attached to it, an attachment can be a very unhealthy attachment. But let me tell you one more thing that popped in me. Then we'll wrap this up. And I'm almost down to the bridge. So I don't know if you can see it. The bridge is way down there. It's like right there, my finger. It's a little bit cloudy, way down there, almost there. But now this one this one I kind of let go pretty good, but it's still the same thing. It just recently happened to me. I've been in Ohio for about 3 months now. Then I was in Thailand for about 6.5 months. So this is probably at least 9 months ago. Okay, it could be longer, So I think I set the intention before I went back to Thailand this last time. But anyway, my intention was when I go back to Thailand, I'm going back to Thailand on a 1-year visa. Okay. Because if you're under 50, if you're not on a retirement visa and you're under 50, I mean, it can be really a challenge to live overseas. Okay. I mean, you can do it, you can make it happen, but the challenge is you can't get a long-term visa. It's a little bit hard. Okay. But when I went back to Thailand this last time, I was in Thailand for 6.5 months. I had about 3 or 4 intentions wrapped into one. And one of them was, well, when I come back to the States and visit, when I come back to Thailand this time right here, I'm going to go back on a 1-year visa. Okay. I don't know what visa it's going to be. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to go back on a 1-year visa. And this was a strong intention because, it's hard to go back. There's only the only thing I could think about with me living in Thailand and not having to leave Thailand was do an education visa. But I was kind of like going back and forth. I really want to do an education visa. If there was a choice, I would sit there and say, no, I don't want to do it. But my whole thing was, I'm going to go back on a 1-year visa. And to fast forward this, I set this intention, went inside my imagination, could see myself coming back to Thailand with a 1-year visa, see myself not leaving and have to, do border runs and jump across. Go to another country, come back, file extensions all the time. I could see myself having this 1-year visa. And this just happened like a couple weeks ago when it got to a point, I'm getting ready to go back to Thailand. It got to a point where I have to file my visa. I have to file something because I'm leaving in the next 3 or 4 weeks. So when I sit down to file, Thailand came out with a new visa program for remote workers and digital nomads. And on top of it, this was a 5-year visa. It was multiple entry, meaning that you can go and come as you please. That's what multiple entry is. And I could stay 1 year in Thailand each time. So I was like, holy crap, like that's kind of exactly what I wanted. So I look at the qualifications, I met the qualifications, I filed for a visa. 1 day later, I got approved for the visa. I mean, isn't that amazing? I said, back when I went to Thailand this last time, and I set this intention, well, when I come back, when I leave to go home for my niece's wedding, when I come back, I'm coming back on a year visa. I'm not doing this no more. I want a year visa. And I got it. And if you knew kind of how hard it is to actually get a year visa when you're not retirement age, it's pretty hard. Okay. It's pretty tough to do. Okay. But I got my attention. Like it was, 8 months. What was it? 6, 8.5, 9 months. And it didn't come until I actually was on a sit down. I told myself, dude, I have to file my visa because I'm leaving in 4 weeks. I have to give enough time for immigration to process my visa. I'm just going to have to sit down and do a tourist visa. That was like my only choice. Either the tourist visa or the multiple entry tourist visa for 6 months. And I'm going to have to sit down and do those two. Sit down and do that. When I sat down to do it, that's when I saw they came out with a new visa program. They came out with a new visa. And I got what I wanted. I got my attention. Exactly what I said. Exactly what I saw in my imagination. That became a reality. I could see it in my 4D world. Now it became a reality in my 3D world. It took about 9 months. 8 to 9 months. But the whole time, I did really good. The whole time, I didn't know how it was going to happen. The reason why it was easy for me to let this go is because when you look at the visa qualifications, I'm thinking to myself, dude, I don't know. I don't know how in the world this is going to happen because I'm not 50. That's the retirement age in Thailand. That's the age you have to be to file a retirement visa. I'm not married, okay, in Thailand. So I can't get a marriage visa. So, you know what I mean? I don't own property in Thailand, so I can't get a non-O visa. So like my choices were at that point, there was like no choices. There is just nothing. Like your mind isn't going to try to figure it out. You're just going to completely let it go. And that's what I did. I did completely let it go, went inside my imagination, and just kept that thought as, hey, I'm gonna go back on a 1-year visa. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen. But the moral of this story is, in this video, is once I got the visa, I found myself, for a while anyway, still wanting to, out of habit, out of attachment, still wanting to kind of think about me going on this visa, me going to Thailand on a 1-year visa. I had trouble letting it go a little bit, and you have to let this stuff go. You have to be excited this happened, and you get more confident with it. You get more confident that imagination does create reality. You get more confident with anything I want, I can have. Okay, we might not know the incubation period. We might not know the time frame that it's going to come to us, but it's going to come to us in due time. Okay, that's what the incubation period means. So and I found myself where it's like I was still kind of in a habit a little bit of thinking about my visa, thinking about my intention. Then I just woke up and I was like, dude, I already have it. I need to move on. I need to move on to my other intention. I need to get even more specific on my intentions. And now that's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. And I focus on my other intentions I have. But anyway, I just want to share that with you. This is, I feel like I'm just rambling now. I'm walking. I feel like talking about it. But blessings to you. If you have questions, comment below, of course. And I always answer my questions. Love to know kind of where you're at, even what's working for you, what you're struggling with. It doesn't matter what it is. And remember, I love you guys. And I don't know if you can see the bridge. It's right there now. You can kind of see it. Almost there. This is about when I walk down, I'll walk back. It is close to about a 2-mile walk. I do in the morning. Sometimes I do in the evening, but I usually do this in the mornings. Then when I go back to Thailand, depending upon the tide and the high tide, I usually try to walk in the morning in Thailand as well, but I usually walk on the beach. But I live in Hua Hin, so it really kind of depends upon the tide. I mean, plus Thailand, what you have to understand about Thailand, plus Thailand is tropical. It's tropical weather. So each year can be a little bit different. I mean, some years in Hua Hin, for example, it can be low tide all the time, where you can go to the beach in the morning and just walk for miles on the beach. Got bees like landing on me. Then other years you go, and almost the whole flipping year it's high tide. So we'll see what happens this time when I go back. But anyway, blessings to you. And I'll see you in the next video.